Hey everyone, Crystal here from Book of Bijou, bringing you another episode of our Minds My Business series. And today we have the beautiful Makayla Ray Marshall joining us from Shop Lovely Lou.
Hi, everyone.
She has generously contributed her gorgeous tusk necklace that we had in our last giveaway. But if you missed it, no worries. She has offered 15% off your entire purchase through the rest of the week when you use code of Bijou. So definitely check that out, shoplovelylou.com. But anyways, Makayla, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started with your business.
So I'm 21 years old, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I started my business in April of 2020, and a little bit like right before the pandemic started. But I just really wanted to put out some, jewelry pieces. I actually started as a clothing boutique and then ended up switching over to a jewelry line because that was like more of my passion.
Okay, so tell us about Lovely Lou. I mean, obviously that doesn't come from your name, Makayla Ray. So where does that name come from?
So the Lou part actually comes from my grandma, who her name was Lucille, and she passed away the year before Lovely Lou was launched. And I really wanted a business that like represented, my love for my grandma. That's kind of
Oh,
where the name, the lovely part comes in. She always like, just made me feel like, good about myself and that I could really do anything. She was always like my biggest supporter. So I really wanted something that like, felt like I was always going to have her with me. And that's kind of where Lovely Lou came from.
that's so sweet. Well, I'm
Thank
sorry for your loss, but
uh,
did she share the same love for jewelry as you do?
yeah, she did. It was a little bit different of like a style, but I
Right.
kind of felt, okay, I'll make it a little bit more modern.
Granted, but that's
Yeah,
so sweet of you to name it after her, and it'll just be a constant reminder that she's
exactly.
there with you, and I'm sure she's so, so proud. So, I mean, congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, So when we spoke a little bit before, you told us that you kind of wanted to start this because you were struggling to find high quality jewelry that was both affordable and good for people with sensitive skin. Is that something that you struggle with personally, or you just saw a demand in the market for?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I personally don't have sensitive skin to jewelry, but yes, like you said, it was something that I felt like in the market. I have like a lot of friends who really like jewelry and we have similar jewelry styles. And they would always say, like, oh my gosh, I can't find, like pieces that are affordable as well as like not turning my skin green or not, breaking me out or anything like that. So that's kind of where I was like, you know what, like I feel like I can do both. And, I try to keep everything under $50. And I feel like that is a pretty affordable price for the quality that you get. And, solid gold obviously is like very pricey. So I really wanted something that was a little bit under that, but you could still feel good in and, be affordable. So
Yeah, I love that you have that niche. So I used to be a stylist with Stella and Dot, and that was a concern that came up a lot about,
mhm.
whether it was okay for people with sensitive skin.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's great that that's one of your focuses.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you said you launched April of 2020, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So fairly new. How's it been going so far?
It's been a roller coaster, honestly. I feel like, anyone that is an entrepreneur like can agree, of course, but it's been, some good. There's been a lot of doubts, but there's been also like a lot of, like good moments. I feel like I count all of the small wins, and I feel like that's like the most important thing to do is to
Yes,
count small
definitely.
as well, of course, your big wins as well. But it's definitely been a roller coaster, but I love what I do no matter what. So
And that was like right after the world just came to a
yeah,
halt.
perfect timing, right?
Right. So did you consider like postponing your launch at all? Like what was your thought process?
I didn't necessarily consider postponing it because it was something that to me, I'm like such a person, like once I get it in my head, I'm like, okay, I want to do it. Like,
Right.
I have so many ideas and stuff, but it was definitely something I thought about, like, is this the best time to launch a full blown business, but I felt like if I didn't do it then I would never do it. So I was just like, you know what, let's just do it and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When I first had the idea planted in my head about my business, I just like hit the
Mhm.
ground running and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna figure it
Right?
out. We're gonna make this
Exactly.
happen.
Like that's so true. Like you are just gonna like be like, oh, let me just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like if you
Right.
don't try, you'll never know. So
Right, exactly. So
mhm.
are you doing this full time right now or are
Uh,
you
pretty much I have I also work at or do photography. So that's basically
Okay.
like my two businesses that I run. I freelance for myself. So those are basically just my two jobs right now.
That's it's funny that you say that because I mean that's awesome for your business, right? Because then you can be
Yeah,
your own photographer, do your own
exactly.
marketing. I was gonna
Correct.
say, I love the aesthetic of your Instagram, like the black
Oh,
and white.
thank,
It's just so pleasing.
thank you so
But
much.
it's so cool to know that that's kind of what you're doing on the side too, photography.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So uh, you just got out of school then, right? Or
Uh, no, I'm actually a college dropout. Yeah, I
oh,
dropped out
okay,
right before going into 2020. So like
okay.
December of
And
2019.
how long did you have your clothing boutique prior to Shop Lovely Lou?
Oh my God, it's the same business, and I literally had it for a month.
Really?
Yeah, and it just was not my thing. And I was like, you know what? I want to sell jewelry. And I honestly love fashion. Like, I love being in the fashion industry. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if later on in life I, decided to bring clothes in. But at the moment, I just felt like that wasn't what I really wanted to do or what I was passionate about. So,
Uh-huh. But it's good that you have that clarity. A lot of people, I think, have the problem of they don't know which one they want to stick to, right?
yeah.
They want to do everything, and then
Yeah.
that's what causes them to fail, I guess,
It,
in the
yeah,
end.
that definitely happens. I feel like for me, I was scared of like what other people would think, like, oh, I just launched as a clothing boutique and here I go. But you can't like be afraid of what other people are going to think, especially with me. I was so early on in my business. I was like,
Uh-huh.
if I don't do it now, I'm not going to be happy. So,
Right. Well, good for you. I was going to ask if you were going to consider like incorporating clothing into your brand, or I mean, would you keep it two separate businesses if you decided you did want to go back to clothing?
I don't know. I feel like I would be able to incorporate it. It's definitely something that I do think about pretty often, but it would be a little while from now. I don't think anytime soon. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I could definitely see me eventually going back to doing both, like having a clothing boutique as well.
Uh-huh. So other than that, what is your vision for the future of your business?
For my brand,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, working with like more models and just building like a like recognizable brand, I guess you could say, is really what like I'm focusing on right now. I really want people to be like, oh my gosh, like that model is from Lovely Lou, or just the aesthetic, I guess. And then of course, like later on in life, having a warehouse for myself and just really building that brand and that business and building the life for myself that I planned in my head and making it kind of come to life.
Yeah. Do you have any previous experience starting a business other than your clothing boutique?
No.
No.
The only thing that I can kind of compare, I guess, is just starting photography. But I started photography like more full time after running my jewelry business, so nothing compared to prior. No.
Do you have anyone helping you with this or with your
Oh,
photography business? It's
one-
just all you?
yeah, one woman show. It's all me. It's a lot, but
How are you able to like balance that?
it is really hard, but I feel like recently what I've been doing is sticking to like a time zone or a time period of when I only work. I give myself like majority of the weekends off, and then I only work, a certain period of time through Monday through Friday. So that helps out a lot. Just sticking with like a time period so that I don't overwhelm myself, because I
Right.
feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you love what you do majority of the time. So you can easily just work like all day, and
Right.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So you give yourself a little bit of time to like reset. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. What would you say was your biggest challenge launching? Have you hit any really big hurdles or not? I
I
mean,
think
other than COVID.
right. For real. My biggest challenge is honestly trying to not compare myself to other businesses or other businesses' journeys is kind of hard, because you might see like another business growing and yours is not growing as fast, or they might have started a little bit before you or a little bit after. So that can be kind of hard. Or just even like, oh, I like the look of this brand. How can I get my brand to look better? Or figure that out. But I'm slowly coming into like my own brand's vision and my own, ideal look for my own brand. So it helps a lot not comparing. But that definitely is
Yeah.
something I struggled with.
I definitely think that's something that could be really detrimental for a brand when it's
Hmm.
just constantly comparing, like, okay, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? What do they look like? And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
it just becomes like more competitive if you're
Hmm.
pretty much becoming the
Yeah,
same thing, right? So you want to be able to
exactly.
establish your own identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you design all of the jewelry yourself, or do you find
No,
suppliers?
yeah, I do have suppliers and manufacturers, but I do make the jewelry, so like they don't come all prepared. But yeah, I don't have like actual designs like created and stuff. I would love to do that in the future, and it's actually something that I'm thinking about doing within maybe later on in the year. But as of right now, no, everything's bought wholesale.
How did you find your manufacturers? Was that an easy
Oh
process
my
for
God,
you?
it's a
I
huge
take it as no.
yeah, it was like so long. It took so many like trials and errors and like, testing so many different manufacturers until I found ones that like really fit, my brand aesthetic and what I wanted for my brand. But yeah, it's definitely, really hard to find them. But I think that the biggest thing is to not give up, because just because you try a few doesn't mean that your business is like going to fail or that you can't get that vision. It takes a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, so that's all just stuff that you've researched on your own, right? Making all
Hmm.
these phone calls, trying people out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of
How long do you think that took you to find the right manufacturers?
like prior to even launching my business, like probably a couple of months, like I'd say like 3 or 4 months just sampling. And then even after my business, I had launched and I still didn't really like the vibe of it. So I ended up searching for more vendors and trying
Right.
out more people. And then I finally felt like that happened. So that in total probably took about like 6 or 7 months. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's because I've been in business. So it's, pretty long, but.
Do you think the process with sourcing for your clothing boutique and sourcing for this now jewelry business is a lot different? How would you
Oh
compare the
yeah.
two?
Like not that it was like easier for me to find vendors for my clothing boutique, but I felt like it went a little bit more smoother. But also at the same time, I was still going with a different aesthetic for my clothing boutique compared to what I would do now if I were to still have a clothing boutique, if that makes sense. I would go with
Uh-huh.
a completely different style now. Something that I feel like kind of represents my jewelry brand as well. But yeah, it wasn't too bad though with finding good clothing vendors, which was nice.
Were you able to get to use any of your contacts from your clothing business to kind of help you out with your jewelry business launch?
Kinda, yeah. Some of the vendors that I actually have for my clothing boutique, or they actually do sell jewelry as well.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that was nice to kind of, when I first got started, when I um was making that transition, that kind of helped out, kind of guide me to, finding more jewelry vendors along the way as well.
How would you describe your aesthetic for your jewelry brand now?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I feel like sometimes I feel all over the place. I definitely like black and white, it's just the easy, clean aesthetic, I feel like.
Yeah.
When it comes to my pictures, I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know. I feel like it's just something that I can't describe. It's just what I like. I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
I brand is based off of simplicity. I want my jewelry pieces to be very simplistic and easy to pair with one another or paired alone. So that's why I always say that it's inspired by simplicity. But yeah, when it comes to my aesthetic and my vibe, I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, a little bit of eclectic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you like
exactly.
what you like. I'm the same way.
Yeah, right.
So you're launching a new collection for Valentine's Day, right?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Tell us a little bit about that. What is it? What can we expect?
So for the Valentine's Day collection, it's going to be a very small collection. I'm thinking about 3 to 4 pieces, nothing too big, but it's going to be my first like holiday based collection. So I'm really excited about that. But it's going to include, some cute necklaces and a few like heart shaped pieces, which I'm really excited about. I feel like these pieces though are not going to, when you wear them, you're not going to think of Valentine's Day. You can wear them any time of the year. So that's
Yeah,
really what I wanted. I didn't want it to just feel like you can only wear them like one
right,
day or out of the year, anything like
right.
that. Still going to fit all year round. So that was
But
like my
no,
main.
like giant hearts and pink
No,
everywhere.
no. I mean, if that's your aesthetic, like that's totally fine.
Yeah,
But here, no.
yeah. Okay, so I keep thinking about, I'm just so curious about this transition from your clothing boutique to your
Mm-hmm.
jewelry boutique. How was like the customer transition? Were they upset? Did they like kind of follow through and like still become customers with your jewelry business?
Yeah, surprisingly, they actually did follow through, which I was also very scared about. I was like nervous that, people would, not support me wanting to be turn into a jewelry line, but everyone was very supportive. And I feel like if you're honest and communicate with your customers early on, they will kind of support you no matter what. So I was very grateful in that sense. But I also at the same time, what it was so early on that, not a lot of people, I felt like my following kind of started going up more when I was already established as a jewelry line compared to having a boutique. So it wasn't that big of a transition.
What about all that inventory? Did you keep inventory for your clothing boutique?
I did for a little while, and then I actually sold most of it on Poshmark or Depop.
Okay.
Some of it I just ended up donating, which, there's that. But
How are you dealing with inventory now? Is it something that's kind of an easy process for you? I know a lot of people, when they start businesses, they worry about having just tons of inventory just sitting around.
right. Yeah, for me, I try not to keep my store super like overwhelmed with jewelry or just inventory in general. I try to give myself like a limit of how much I have on the site at one time or how much I have like at home waiting to be on the site at one time. So that makes it a little bit easier. It really just depends on how quickly or how slow things go, and sticking to a budget with myself also helps, because then it's like, okay, you don't need to bring anything else in until until your budget or until your customers purchase and you get back your profits. So sticking with that also helps me not have so much inventory at home, which is
Right.
nice.
Yeah, it seems like you have like a really good routine going for yourself.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah. Do you use like any planners or any apps or anything to help you stay organized?
No, actually, I'm not a huge like planner person, but I am a writer. Like I love to write things
Okay.
down. So what I actually do to like track my expenses or just to make sure everything's on track, tracking my inventories, I actually go to Etsy and like search in business expense tracker or planners and stuff like that and print them out. And then I just use those. And that helps me physically writing, just like makes it a lot easier for me for some reason. So
Uh-huh.
that's how I like to do everything.
So you're your own accountant as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
And
that
oh,
is
I'm
that
sorry.
hard for you? No, go ahead.
Oh, yes. I am not good with numbers at
Right.
all. So, and math has never been my thing, but for now, um, it's what I have to do. So
Yeah.
it's
You'll just figure it out as you go.
fine.
Do you have any advice for people that are wanting to start a business, like where to begin or, what kind
Oh,
of mindset they should go into it with?
I feel like I have so many tips, but I feel like the biggest thing is to, if you have like that vision in your head, like if you are wanting to start any type of business, like service or product, you have that vision for a reason, and, just pursue it and go all in. Don't give up. Being a business owner is, a lot of ups and downs, as I'm sure you know, and it's a lot of work, but you have that vision for a reason. So you need to pursue it and, go right into it, dive into it.
Do you ever get scared about what might happen with the future of your business?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like all the time. Like I'm like, oh, I don't know if, it's even like the littlest things like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like this product, or oh my gosh, what if I don't get sales, or, anything like that. Like it's always, in my head, but I just try to remain positive as much as I can and keep going no matter what.
Do you like listen to anything or read anything to help you kind of stay motivated and positive?
Actually, no, not really. I listen to my mom. She tells me like, Makayla, keep going,
I love that.
But no, I wish I could say that I like listen to podcasts and stuff, but I'm not a huge podcast person. Um, but yeah, there's nothing like specifically that I like listen to keep me going. I kind of just, what I actually do, like I said before, is I write things out. So I journal constantly if I feel like any doubts or anything like that, and that always like centers me and helps me, when I feel like I'm doubting myself or doubting my brand.
I love that. What about any vision boards? Do you do that?
Oh, I love a good vision board. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the type to like cut things out, but I love putting them on Pinterest and just making a board. And I actually go and look at it like every day for myself. And yeah, I have like a bunch of pictures that I would love to represent my brand and just overall like my life.
I love that. Okay, so I mean, it's just like a constant reminder, right? You can keep looking
Hmm.
at it and know what's
Yeah,
coming for you in the future.
exactly.
Well, that was all really, really great information. Thank you so much, Makayla, for joining me today. I'm so
Oh,
excited to see your Valentine's Day collection that's
oh, I'm
coming
so
up.
excited too. And thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, I loved talking to you. I can't wait to see you continue to grow in the future and
Thank
see if you
you.
end up bringing clothing into your to your brand and
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah, who knows? It might be sooner than you think. I never know.
Right. For those of you watching at home, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, if you missed our giveaway, no worries. You can still check out her collection at shoplovelylou.com and you will get 15% off your purchase through the end of the week when you use code Bijou. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're following the both of us on Instagram, Book of Bijou, Shop Lovely Lou. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. And again, thank you so much. And thank you, Makayla. I wish you all the best and I look forward to working with you again soon.
Yes, thank you so much.